Here's 12 tips to help you get better sleep, help you go to sleep faster, and if you stay all the way to the end, there's my bonus tip that nobody wants to tell you if you really want to get better sleep. There are two important things that you need to have better sleep and fall asleep faster to improve your health. The first is you need a quality sleep environment and a routine that supports that sleep environment. And that's what we're going to talk about today. You're going to get 12 tips on how to prepare your environment and your routine to sleep better and to fall asleep faster. The second thing is to have a good internal space. So we know so much of what keeps us up and doesn't allow us to fall asleep is this racing of the mind, this internal mind that never stops, never shuts off, is anxious, worried, fearful, and that doesn't allow us to get to sleep as fast or wakes us up in the middle of the night and we can't get back to sleep. And I talked in the last video, you'll see this video here, you can listen to meditation does help you improve sleep so you can have a clear internal environment and you are learning the tools both in your active life to heal the body and then allow the body to have a deep level of rest so you have both deep sleep and you have what Deepak Chopra calls a restful alertness where the mind is getting a deep level of rest, the mind is alert and the body is relaxing and receiving also a deep level of rest and healing in the body. And both are important, sleep and internal meditation and getting that space between the mind. But today, I want to talk to you about what you can do to have a better sleep environment. Let's start with the tips. Tip number 1 is that you want to start your routine early. Your bedtime routine is going to start when you start planning your dinner. You don't want to eat any more or less, you don't want to eat close to the time that you go to bed. So you want to eat 2 or 3 hours prior to bedtime. So in that time, you are going to be able to have the maximum digestive power if you're also looking to rebalance the weight of the body and you might want to lose weight or gain weight. Also, a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. regimen is going to be really important because you maximize the digestion of the body from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. If you are eating too close to bedtime, then you're not maximizing the digestion, you're not maximizing the quality of the sleep for those 8 hours. Also, you want to be aware of what kinds of foods you're eating for dinner. Certainly don't eat any caffeine foods, coffee, chocolate, any sodas, anything like that. But you also don't want to eat fatty foods because fatty foods, again, can obstruct some of the digestive system and it can make your sleep less restful and it can make it more difficult and it can wake you up in the middle of the night as well. Tip number 2 is to look at your technology. So again, you're starting your routine, looking at your dinner time, making sure that you have 2 hours between dinner and bedtime. And now with technology, you really want to try to start shutting down all of the devices an hour before bed. So there's 2 parts to this. The first is that really starting to make this inward journey toward rest. So we know in meditation, we're moving from activity into the space of silence and restfulness. And so as you move into bed, think of your bedtime as this really beautiful, mindful state that you're starting to strip away the sensory input of the day and starting to allow yourself to relax and signaling the body that you're getting ready for bed. And so that means turning off any of the sensory input of television that might be dramatic, some of the horror movies, suspense, anything that's got the body in fight or flight. Also not having difficult conversations at night with people. If you know that there's an email coming in that's going to send your heart rate up or that might be stressful, just wait until the morning and really start to take away all of the things that are really going to make you intellectually active. And even if it's not negative, if it's really going to stimulate the mind, you want to start sort of setting those aside. So you're going to turn off your electronic devices an hour before you go to bed. And also the third tip is you want to, if you can, take them outside the room. The last thing we do when we go to bed is we look at the phone and we set it down. Hopefully you turn it off, of course, the sound. Sometimes if you leave it on, that's going to wake you up as well. And then the first thing we look at is the time we see our messages come up. If we can set our devices outside of the room, we not only don't have the blue light, which the blue light is suppressing the hormone melatonin, which is really important in signaling the body. It's really important to the quality of sleep that we get. Any light actually is going to affect the melatonin. So you really do want to keep your room dark. You don't want to sleep at night with lights on either. But if you put the devices outside the room, then you minimize the blue light. Also the electromagnetic field. There's a sleep advisor who comes in and she advises people on their sleep environment and how to set up healthy routines. And her advice is, if you are going to have the devices in the room, to keep them 5 feet away. And some people that she's worked with have noticed really significant improvement from that as well. Tip number 4 is you want to really do relaxing activities. So read a book, journal, draw, do anything that you've been wanting to do. It looks like self-care. So if you're not taking the time for yourself in self-care during the day, make this the time that you start to nurture yourself. Take a hot bath. Baths are wonderful to help promote sleep. You can put Epsom salt in the bath. It will actually detoxify the body as well. So you can combine some of the benefits of the physical body moving into sleep. And if you didn't watch my video, The Audacity to Self-Care, please do. I think we put everyone else's needs first and we rarely put ourselves first. And this is a great time to be bold, to have the audacity to say, I'm going to put me first. And there's this hour before bed that you can soak in the things that you love, that are gentle and soothing and really nourish your soul. Tip number 5 is to try essential oils. So there are fragrances and scents that you can use that start to relax the body. So again, not only during the day we have all this sensory input that's coming in at us. So not only are we trying to make that restful space and acknowledging that our body is moving from activity to rest, but we can use all of the senses to signal the body. And so the sense of smell is a really powerful sense. It is the number 1 sense of the 5 that is directly related to triggering memories the most quickly. So if you use a calming scent, you can use sandalwood, vanilla, or lavender. And if you spray it on your pillow, or if you have a candle burning next to you, if you burn the same one every single night, it will actually signal to the brain. The brain begins to rewire itself and signals that it's time to go to bed and it's time to relax. So use essential oils to help the body relax. Tip number 6, you can also use soothing herbs. So use the sense of taste to drink tea. Chamomile tea is great. Valerian is wonderful. And again, you're warming the body. So you're moving from activity, sort of slowing the body down, allowing it to move into that space of rest. Tip number 7 is I also recommend not drinking alcohol before bed. I know a lot of people think that alcohol is going to knock them out, that they're not going to have their mind racing, they fall asleep really quickly. In fact, the opposite is true. It can actually wake you up in the middle of the night and it can make you more restless. Alcohol also interferes with the REM patterns, the really deep sleep patterns of the brain during deep sleep, and so alcohol is affecting that. So you really want to try to minimize alcohol before you go to bed. And then tip number 8 is also keeping your sleep habits the same on the weekends as you do on the weekday. So speaking of alcohol, that's our time that we usually stay up a little bit later. If we have really good quality habits of food and exercise, sometimes those go out the door. But if you can keep the same habit on the weekends that you do in the weekday, you are going to rewire the brain. You're going to allow the body to work in that rhythm of nature and allow it to remember that it's time for sleep, and it signals the body. So if you can maintain that, again, if you're enjoying alcohol, there's nothing wrong with a glass of wine. But if you really want to be mindful of your sleep and promoting the most quality sleep, do the same thing on the weekends that you're doing on the weekdays. Even if you can wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and you have the time, let yourself wake up at 6 o'clock. You'll again start to set that pattern, and naturally the body will wake itself up on its own. Your body starts to really remember and starts to get in alignment with those rhythms. Tip number 9 are some symbolic things that you can do, again, to signal the body. So if you imagine that you're wearing more tight-fitted clothes, if you can wear looser clothes. So you think of the example that you come home from work and people have said, really enjoy the last part of your day and find a separation from the first part of work to the second part of enjoyment and family, conversation, community, relaxation. And I think I've really noticed that in my life. So if you're wearing tighter pants, or for women, if you're wearing tight bras and you usually sleep in those same clothes, allow yourself to find something looser, because again, it signals the body that it's time to go into sleep. You might also want to have heavy blankets. So if you have those weighted blankets on the body, again, it's kind of snuggling the body and signaling, like when we were a baby, that it's time to warm up, it's time to snuggle in. I think your environment, the actual room that you sleep in, is really important. So you can clean your bedroom, you can clean under the bed, all of that input that's coming into the brain, any messes, anything that needs to be done. Subconsciously, you're always taking that in. Oh, I need to clean this. I need to organize that. I need to take that bag to give away to Goodwill, or all the things that you want to do, the filing, or any clean the floors. I see the little dust bunnies in the corner of the room. When those things are done and the room is clean, I get to really enter in a space that allows me to be in a restful space and sleep for the night, rather than my mind thinking about the things that I have to do, whether it's consciously or whether it's subconsciously. Tip number 10 is my personal favorite. It is the one that changed my entire sleep habit. It's wearing socks. My feet get really cold, and for me, when the body's cold, it's not signaled that it's time to rest and relax, right? There's a sense of constriction, the blood flow isn't moving. So if I go to bed with cold feet, I can stay up an hour or an hour and a half. So again, in my hour routine before bed, I'm putting on socks, I'm warming my feet and my hands. Again, a bath is a really great way to do this. Or if I haven't remembered, then when I hop into bed, I'll put socks on to warm my feet and let me fall asleep. I always have socks by my bed, so if I've forgotten, I don't have to get up. And then halfway through the night, sometimes I'm regulating my body temperature. It's also a good idea to have blankets and things that you might need, so you don't have to get up in the middle of the night. But for me, sometimes I'll start to get warmer, your body temperature will change throughout the night, and I'll just take off the socks. Tip number 11 is guided meditation or guided relaxation before you go to bed. So there's a few reasons that this is really great. Number 1 is having someone guide you into a meditation allows you to focus on another external stimulus that has the reminder of it's time to sleep. So I use the same guided meditation every single time that I want to use a meditation. So I hear the same voice. I don't have different meditations because my mind is thinking about different things. So the minute I hear, there's a little British voice that I meditate to at night, or I listen to. As soon as I hear his voice, already my body signals that it's time to go to sleep. So in the other video that we talked about a quiet internal environment, we talked about doing a body scan. You can take a look at that video. There's some breathing exercises. There's an exercise called recapitulation. You can do those by yourself, or you can have a guided meditation. And I have a wonderful body scan meditation that you can play at night too. And you can hear the sound of my voice. Hopefully it'll soften, it'll start to guide you into that space of rest. And also, because I love you and support you and really want you to sleep well, it's really important to me. I think that our health is really, this sleep is such a foundational pillar of health. It's really important. So if you hear the sound of my voice, you can remember how much I want to support you and love you and really help you get that quality of sleep so you can live your purpose and your life. And then the last tip, number 12, is don't try too hard. I know we push so hard for everything in our life to achieve, but that just makes us more stressed and more constricted. So if we're trying to fall asleep, what's going to happen? Chances are the opposite effect. If you're tracking your sleep all the time, you're going to be very aware of the minutes it's stressful. I know my father tracks his sleep and it's been terrible his whole life. And I see it and I get worried that it's 4.5, 5 hours of sleep. If he gets 6 hours, it's phenomenal. So tracking that all the time can add to the stress. Really let it go. Don't worry about how many hours you're getting. Just take minutes of your night. If you're not getting to bed until 11 o'clock at night, just try every week to go to bed 10 minutes earlier and 10 minutes earlier. I used to make one of my girlfriends who wasn't going to bed until 1 o'clock in the morning. I told her, if you weren't going to bed at least 15 minutes less than you did the night before, that I was going to make her do 10 push-ups. And she didn't want to do 10 push-ups, so it worked. So we got her up into about 11 o'clock hour. So that was still really beneficial for her. So don't try too hard. Know that the natural cycle of sleep is your birthright. Allow yourself to really sink into it. Let go. Use these tips as sort of guides to help you. You don't have to do them all, but you'll start to notice a lot of benefits if you take them in. Be easy and effortless. Allow yourself to have the time to self-nurture and self-care. And the very last tip, this is kind of my bonus tip, because I do love you so much, that I want to leave you with is, please, if you are a coffee drinker, cut your coffee out for a week. If you're really having trouble and you're here and you're at the end of this video, even if you think that because you stopped drinking coffee at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, it is in your system, and so many people who have cut out their coffee have realized that it really did impact their sleep. So if you are using all of these practices and trying things to improve your sleep, really try to see if you can cut out your coffee for the first week and then another week to see how your sleep is. I am a coffee drinker. I know it's really difficult, but it'll really give you a lot of information about your sleep patterns. If you are sleeping better, you are not going to want to drink as much coffee, or you'll be able to just minimize. And it doesn't mean that you have to take it out of your daily routine. So those are my 12 tips and one bonus. I hope you still love me. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to hear that their coffee is being taken away. If you enjoyed this video, if any of these tips are valuable to you, please like this video. Please subscribe. You'll get new guided meditations, learn the tips of meditations. Meditation has scientifically been shown that it helps improve sleep. So if you can establish a daily practice to help your sleep, that's amazing. And you know where to find me. I will see you back here for the next video.